Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, August the 16th, 2022 Pasco Public Facilities District Board meeting. I will go ahead and call the meeting to order, and if you'd please take the roll.
Carolyn Bowdish,
I'm here.
Leonard Dietrich,
Yes.
Marie Gillespie,
Yes.
Spencer Gillette,
Present.
and Mark Morissette.
Present.
All five accounted for.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is recognition of visitors, public comments. Is there anybody? And seconded by Leonard Dietrich to approve the July 26, 2022 meeting minutes. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And hearing no opposed, the motion carries. Claims approval, second quarter 2022 expense report. To find the second quarter 2022 expense report, please look in your packet for the payment register. The second quarter expenses total $249,529. And in your packet, you'll see that the expense register starts with legal services, then organizational services, the flow through to the Kennewick Public Facilities District, advertising, postage, insurance premiums, and administrative services. Are there any questions regarding the payment register? If there's no questions, we do need to approve these, so it'll be a motion. Somebody please make a motion and then second the motion.
It's still moved that we approve.
Okay. Caroline has moved to approve the payment register as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
And any further discussion? No further discussion. Then all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And hearing no opposed, then the motion carries. Financial report. A1, the balance sheet. So basically, our total net assets at June 30th, 2022 was $81,121, of which $79,000 of that is the cash in our bank account. And then A2, statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. Our accounting year runs January through December, so what you're seeing there in this statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance is a 6-month report. Total revenues for the current period, $246,345. Year to date, $325,000. So at this point in time, we have collected approximately 62% of our expected annual budget of $520,000. And the expenditures, $249,529 for the current period, which we just approved the payments for the claims approval for the second quarter, which is what we discussed with the payment register. And you can see the breakdown of the expenses there. And as far as expenses are concerned, when you look over to the far right column, we are just slightly over 50% of our total expenditures for the year. The net change in fund balance for the second quarter is a decrease of $3,100. And then, if you look at the third column, the middle column, the year-to-date 2022 actual, and if you go down to the ending fund balance, the ending fund balance is $81,000. And then if you were to go back and take a look at our balance sheet, you would see that the total net assets is that same $81,000. Now, this is just an information item. We don't have to have this approved by the board. Are there any questions regarding the financial report before I move to the next item on the agenda? Okay, next item on the agenda is under old business. Item A under old business, the restated Pasco Public Facilities District Charter. And Mr. Ferguson, you're going to lead us through this.
Great. Thank you, Mr. President. So the charter, as we talked about, we've talked about several times. One of the last opportunities we had to talk about it was we knew that we had a very distinct provision that we needed to address because it limited the board's ability to contract or employ on their own without council approval. And obviously, going forward, that would be something that would definitely hinder the board's ability to do the work that's ahead of it. Also, based on the board's direction, it was stated that this would also be a good time to go through and see if there was anything else in the charter that we thought really was more suited for the bylaws. It was a very involved process. You wouldn't know it by looking at the charter, but we took out a ton of things, and then after going through the bylaw process, we were able to, or we discovered that it really was some of the things that we thought might be better in the bylaws really fit more directly in the charter. And so this was our recommendation to council to take the one, for lack of a better expression, offending portion out of the contract that really limited the board's ability to move forward. We took that out. We've amended that. The council approved that last night by ordinance. And then the next item is obviously we've come along with the bylaws. The main thing, and I just really wanted to not get off into the weeds too much, but the main thing that was really causing some concern and some trouble, and that we kind of went back and forth on, and this is something that the board, if they would prefer moving forward in this direction, we can certainly do the work and make the changes. But Article 8 of the charter is procedural requirements, and depending on the charter, we did a lot of research, not only on the PFDs locally, but some folks on our staff also looked at some other charters around the state. And really there was this was the portion that we were really kind of going back and forth on and trying to determine whether it was better suited for the bylaws versus the charter. And as it turned out, as we got into the bylaws, I started looking at what some of the other PFDs said that who have adopted bylaws already, specifically Richland, as well as the Tri-City Regional draft that had been circulated for them. It really fit well to leave this portion. This was our opinion that it fit well to leave this portion in the charter instead of trying to remove it to the bylaws. Obviously, that's something if the board has concerns in the future. But it was one of those things, I think, what we really kind of, the conclusion that we kind of came to is let's not have a solution looking for a problem. At this point, we think that they work very well together, both the current charter as it's drafted, as well as the bylaws, which we'll talk about next. But with that, the charter is now amended. The section that was amended, you'll see on Article 5, Section 5.2D, the district may contract with the city for any or all, instead of all, support staff and support services, but retains the authority to employ staff or contract for professional services without express authority of the council. So The thing that's interesting about this too is if you look up at 5.1, where it says the district shall have and may exercise all lawful powers conferred by state law, the formation ordinance, this charter, and its bylaws. Those are powers that PFDs have generally to be able to contract, employ staff, and move forward. So it was a little contradictory that was, and quite frankly, we never saw that provision in any other charters. So that's something that I think, quite frankly, is overdue and needed to be amended. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Eric, section 8.1, paragraph A, at least quarterly, the board shall review, instead of monthly, should we put quarterly since we just reviewed quarterly financial statements?
I'm sorry, where are you at? 8.1 A?
Yes, page 5.
Okay. A, you're saying at least
Yes.
quarterly the board shall review monthly statement. No, I think that that's what we just did. They're monthly statements, but we review them quarterly. At this point, we did it. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Maybe you don't want to get me into accounting, but I think that's the point is that they do it on a monthly basis, but we review them quarterly. I think that was the goal. So,
But we don't actually see monthly reports.
well, I think in the report where you have don't you have each of the entries for each of the months? Like for example, in the expenditures, you have
So
April, May, and June.
You're talking the payment register.
Mm-hmm. Oh, am I talking? Okay, sorry, I'm talking about two different things then. Yep.
But this reads, shall review monthly statements of income and expenses which compare budgeted expenditures to actual expenditures.
And there's nothing to stop you from doing that. It just says at least quarterly. You have to
Okay.
do that.
Okay. So I could probably spend all afternoon, we could visit about that one, but we'll leave it the way it is.
No,
Page
if that's
6.
something that the board, yeah, if you think and I think the bylaws in that section, actually, we'll talk about that in just a second. That may be actually more instructive, but
Okay.
I don't think that's offending the.
Yeah, that's, however, any board members, anybody have a comment on that, or?
I understand what you're saying, and because if you look at it literally, it says we have to look at those monthly, and we do not.
Well, I think what it's saying is that we have to look at monthly statements at least quarterly. So I think maybe the concern would be that we get monthly. So what you're saying is that we don't get monthly statements.
Right.
Oh,
Correct.
okay. So that means, yeah, that's something we probably want to change
Okay.
moving forward. Yeah, because if we're supposed to be looking at monthly statements, we should do that.
I mean, I'd like to see them daily, but
Exactly.
I'll settle for quarterly. Okay, and then on page 6, and I just point this out as an information item for the board, section 8.6, audit and inspections, and there's mention of the state auditor. So this is it's just a curious question. As we move forward and we begin the process of constructing the aquatic center, the state auditor will come in and audit our bookkeeping and our record keeping procedures.
Well, I don't want to talk out of school here because
No, it's okay.
No, because Rita would let me know real quick that I'm out of my lane here. But as I understand it, because some of those services are already provided through the city, those are already being looked at by the state auditor. The PFD, it's just directly, it's not directly. The city staff is doing that, and so it's getting
Okay.
looked at that way already.
Good. And then back on, this is another FYI item for the board on page, where am I? On page, way back on page 10, then you're gonna see where the mayor signs it, the city clerk signs it, and then you will sign it, Eric, on behalf of the city. And then where is it at here? Somewhere. I thought I saw where we just need to pass this resolution, and then I think Carol and I will sign it on behalf of the Public Facilities District.
That's the bylaws.
Oh, that's the next one. Oh, yeah, pardon me. So this one is just really for the city council to work through. And does this just require any action on our part?
Nope. I think
Just as an information item.
yeah. So this is your new. Yeah, this is your new charter, and the charter, the originating jurisdiction, which is the city of Pasco, that creates the PFD. They're the ones who have the authority to make the changes to the
Okay.
charter directly. And
But this isn't done already, I don't think.
yep, last night.
They signed it. Oh, okay, all right.
It'll be effective 5 days from now.
Okay, good. Are there any questions, any more questions by anybody regarding the restated charter?
Restated Charter. I had my little comments, questions, so forth written down, and then I gave it to Deborah, and I don't have another copy. And so, can I come get that paper and ask my questions, or?
Well, as we discussed, I'll talk with Eric. I believe they are likely Scrivener's errors, so we can discuss that. Scrivener's errors are minor things that don't change the
yes.
content of the.
Well, yeah, the things I wrote down were the minor things. Are we discussing the bylaws yet?
No, not yet.
Not
We're
yet,
still
just the
on A.
charter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Those
can't
are
remember.
separate.
I read, it was so long, I can't remember what's where. All the duties of the secretary treasurer, I mean, it went on, and I don't think I've done any of them.
That's it.
Where did
That's
they
in the
go?
resolution, so that's coming up.
That's coming up?
Yeah, I think what you're talking about is page 3, item C, or, yes, item C. Right?
Yes, that, right. Okay, yeah, I've got a question there.
Okay, so let's hold up just for a minute. Is there any discussion, any further discussion regarding the restated charter?
So, I gave a couple of typos to Deborah.
On the
Trust-
charter?
On the charter, yeah.
Okay.
I trust that city council will allow typos to get fixed. The officer shall do something officer instead of, shall hold officer instead of office. Little stuff like that. Did you catch that one too? Yeah. Oh, it's in the bylaws. You totally cannot keep track of what's where, because it was a lot to read.
Okay,
There's a lot to write too, I can tell you that.
okay, then if there's no further business regarding the restated charter, then let's move to item B under the old business, resolution approving the Pasco Public Facilities District bylaws. Mr. Ferguson again?
Great, yeah, so again, this is our attempt to get a draft of bylaws that you can pass and move forward with that'll really drill down and give a lot more perspective about what the duties will be going forward of the board. And it also really spells out a lot of situations that, quite frankly, up to this point, haven't really been that necessary because the board hasn't had a project that it's had to really oversee and to move forward on. So at this point, this is our draft, and this has gone back and forth with city staff, and we've tried to make it as inclusive as we can, but obviously it's your bylaws, and so this is clearly up to the board to move forward with and to amend as they see fit. So. But we're happy to answer any questions. It's quite detailed. We did use some of the other. I guess we combined a lot of the other versions that are out there with other PFDs, especially the two other local ones that were, or two of the other local ones that we're more familiar with. So we think it does a good job, but really it's yours to decide how you want to move forward with.
So maybe you addressed this and I just didn't catch it. The secretary treasurer shall, and then there's this long list. Is a lot of this stuff actually in City Hall, in, say, Deborah Barham's office? I mean, I don't have all of these archives personally organized, ready to present to anybody.
Yeah, no, this would be something that this is really going from the board only oversight kind of role versus actually going forward and doing the day-to-day activities of the district. So it wouldn't be expected that these are already up and running because obviously that hasn't been how the board's been structured. So this would be going forward. This is the suggested way that. The board
Okay, so
would handle
at
its
the
activities.
office of the district, do we have an office?
Mhm.
Where?
City Hall.
City Hall? Well,
Yeah,
well, it's a big building.
City clerk. So I believe the charter says city clerk's office. I believe. Sorry, I can't find it right off the top of my head here, but, yep. So your principal office will be, well, I think the bylaws obviously make sure that, there's your authority, the district. So yeah, maybe we're at the, maybe that's where it's establishing it now, is in the bylaws. Yeah, because I don't see it I thought it was in the charter as well, but I think it's just in the bylaws.
In whose office?
In the bylaws.
In the bylaws, but
Where is that physically in the building is what you're asking?
yes, I mean, where is it?
Oh, no, yeah, are you talking about like signage on an actual physical office?
At the office of the district, well, obviously we don't want it in the middle of the floor and inside the front door.
I think, doesn't it just a street address?
Yeah, that's what we're currently using. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all,
just a
it's all the
street
stuff that-
address with
I'm
a
sorry,
junction.
if you're asking about the term office, it's where it's incorporated, where this municipal corporation is on record as having its offices located in City Hall. So if that's what you're
Okay.
asking about,
Okay.
but yes, if
So
you're,
it's 525.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, it's okay.
But at this point, an original or a copy of the bylaws, so forth, so on, who is keeping that?
That's what we're doing now.
Well,
I see.
So the city has it in its archive system somewhere for us.
oh,
It's
that's
all
what
part
I
of that.
They're
wanted to-
gonna do it.
Yeah, it's all part of that,
That's what I wanted to know.
yeah, that
because
administrative services, yeah.
I don't have it. Do you have it? I mean, I'm a retired teacher. I mean, when I was supposed to keep things, I knew where it was in my classroom.
So I just say this with a small amount of humor, just don't have it at your house.
That's not good.
Well, but Carolyn brings up a good point. We should know what the location is. You know, is it a certain file cabinet in Debbie's office, or is it a file server? I mean, it would be nice to know these things.
So currently, it's a combination of electronic and paper, and they are in my office
And it's
or
in
on
your
our
office.
city drive. So
And we would all have access to that if we visited your office.
yes, you have bet.
And I think as far as the general public has access to that.
Yes.
And then, Eric, if we are served papers, then who's the registered agent?
You are.
Okay.
It would seem to me, what would happen if a citizen or a state representative walked in the front door and asked for the records of the PFD / whatever? They would direct them to Debbie's office, slide out it, and some of it's electronic and some of it is in paper. And that is as close, you're not gonna get room 152.
So, yeah, and so currently up to this point, the board has always utilized the city for all of its support services. And
Because the city deals with our archives.
you got it. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rather than us renting a room someplace and putting it in there, I wouldn't trust that. I would trust the city to archive it correctly so that when an audit comes down or an individual comes in, that is public information and they have access to it.
And then Debbie, is that the same starting point for the PFD board as it is for the city council or whatever other?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Ms. Barham serves as the clerk of the board as well as the clerk of the city council.
Which brings up a good point. It's why she's here also.
That's right.
Mark, I have a question.
Go ahead, Spence.
In the bylaws, we've, under Article 3, we've got quite an extensive, lot of verbiage talking about officers and officers' responsibilities and all that stuff. We don't in the bylaws discuss membership on the board as far as terms, replacement, that kind of stuff. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, it's got to be in the charter.
It's in the charter.
Yep.
Okay.
And the charter is reflective of the state statute. So, yeah, there's really, we could put it, but it would just be redundant and you couldn't even change it if you wanted to because it would be in conflict with your charter,
Okay.
In conflict with state law.
which is, yes, also in conflict with state law.
Okay, then, Eric, on page 2, there's a place where, again, Caroline and signed, so we do need to have a motion to have this, do we have to act on this?
You don't have to act. The motion is the opportunity to move forward on this if you'd like to move forward on it today.
Okay.
But obviously, it's up to the board to decide if
Sure.
they want to send us out to make some wholesale changes or minor changes or major changes and come back. But it's certainly up to the board's discretion.
And then back on page 8 is the city clerk will just fill in that date there. And so the only place that we would need to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing is on page 2. But I get it as far as reviewing the bylaws, but. So we would need a motion to, and then a second to vote and to discuss, I should say, and then vote on this resolution.
That's correct. Yeah, so if you'll see there in section 1 of the resolution that the Pasco Public Facilities District Board of Directors does hereby approve its bylaws attached here to as Exhibit A. So that's what you're doing when you're passing the resolution. You're adopting the bylaws.
In fact, if you'll note, there is a motion that is written out.
Where's that at? Where's that at, Leonard?
Section B.
Would you say B?
Your agenda.
Oh,
Oh.
well, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, now, then at this point, is there any discussion at this level, this point in our meeting? Or do we want to move forward to the motion to approve this resolution? Give me a sense of the board, what you'd like to do.
Is it urgent that we approve this today?
He said no, I don't think it is.
So there's been numerous discussions about moving forward and how we would proceed with bylaws. Originally, what we were concerned about was we needed to get moving on the charter provision that was really limiting the board's ability to employ and contract. And part of the impetus on our part, and one of the things that we were really struggling with the bylaws, was the dance. We had a chicken and egg problem a little bit because we needed to change the charter, but we thought we were going to take a lot of those things out of the charter and get them in your bylaws. So we needed to get your charter approved, the changes approved right away, which we're also going to approve the changes that we were going to move over to your bylaws. As I stated originally, we decided that probably was a little bit of an overkill situation, so we decided to show some restraint there. Pretty much keep it the way it is. Currently, though, now that you've had that provision in your charter amended, that takes away a lot of the motivation or the, I guess, the urgency to pass the bylaws. So we certainly have time, but it was my understanding from Mr. Briggs, who attended the last meeting, that the board made it clear in no uncertain terms they were ready to have something brought back that was ready for approval. So hence reason why. That's why we turned it around, and it's ready for approval as is, or you're certainly allowed to make any other changes, and we can bring those back.
We just got this afternoon though, right?
No, I believe Friday.
You received it on Friday, but there were some amendments done in that. You received the amended bylaws this afternoon.
I
Which-
haven't had a whole lot of time to look
Yeah.
at this and think about
It's
it.
long.
But yeah, it's whatever the board desires. Is something we want to go ahead and put this back on our September agenda? So anybody else, please go ahead and speak up what your wishes may be for us.
I would be glad to take another meeting to have time to go
Okay.
through it more leisurely.
Spence?
It was a real rush job.
I'm fine with that.
You until September, Leonard?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, then if you just give us a chance for those who want to go through it, we can, and then we'll put this back on the agenda, the September agenda, Debbie.
Well, for I guess for parliamentary procedure's sake, if we just have a motion to table to this September meeting.
Okay,
Motion, we table this till the September meeting.
okay, it's, a motion is before us. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to table the bylaws, or what we heck we just talking about here? Yeah, the bylaws until this approval until the September meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And there's obviously no opposed, so the motion carries.
Mark?
Yes, sir.
What I would suggest is that we not wait until next month to bring in our concerns, is that we compile those individually and get those to Deborah. And then she can pass that to legal, and then they can see where they need to massage it. That way, when we get back into and get our packet next month, the corrections, suggested corrections will be in there to satisfy it, so that we can continue on and either pass it or
Sure.
pass it or not. But I think that'd be very helpful.
Board members are all okay with that?
Yeah.
You're okay with that, Debbie, and Eric, you're okay with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I just want to make sure the board understands, though, that even if there's changes that they would like to make at that meeting, we can make those changes in the draft as we're here, and then the board can adopt that then, and the final draft, it will be passed as amended. So it wouldn't be, if there's something that you wanted to change, or some folks wanted, to have a modification, that we wouldn't still be able to do what Mr. Dietrich just implied, to pass it.
My concern is that you don't get them on the night of, and then it's something legal that you can't do, that you need to massage it for another month.
Absolutely.
And so what I'm hoping is that the proposed changes come in, and you massage those in a way that they can be presented and looked at that night and passed on or not.
Absolutely. Yep, that sounds great.
Okay.
We'll be
I'm
ready to go.
assuming any changes we make will be done in such a way that we can see them in the text.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So I guess it'd be just a matter of if we need to change, a change.
That's correct, because a lot of the changes that folks will make individually or requests that people may have, not everybody might agree with those, or there may be discussion about those, so it'd be nice to show, the mark through and the underline for the proposed, and then we can go through each one of those if we need to at that time, and then pass a final version that night.
Just, I have a technical question, then is the final version of it, does it show that cross out in the corrections?
No.
Permanently?
No, it's
No.
changed. in
Once
the
it's
final version.
approved, then the change goes in,
Absolutely.
okay.
Okay, is that the end of the discussion on old business item B? At this time then, it is necessary, it's needed that the Pasco Public Facilities District Board go into an executive session. So the Pasco Public Facilities District Board will now meet in an executive session to discuss qualifications of an applicant for public employment per RCW 42.30.110, parentheses 1 and parentheses lowercase g. And it's anticipated that we'll be in executive session for approximately 15 minutes, which means I'm expecting we'll be back at 4:50.
Oh, no, it's 4:33.
Yeah, it's 4:33, but then you add 15 minutes to that, or what do we want to do here? It's gonna,
What'd you say?
4:50, we'll be back at 4:50.
I heard 4:30.
Oh, 4:30? Well, that'd be nice if we could turn back the hands in time, but this is,
Time for a while.
yeah, this is gonna be going forward no matter what, so we'll excuse ourselves and we'll be back at 4:50. It is 4:50 PM, 30 seconds. So 4:50, 30 seconds. It's the PFD, the Pasco Public Facilities District Board is extending the executive session for a period of 10 minutes until 5 PM. It is 5:02 PM and the Pasco Public Facilities District Board is extending the executive session for a period of 10 minutes until 5:17. It is 5:17 PM and I call the regular,
Sorry.
you're okay, I call the regular meeting back to order, which takes us to the agenda item under old business item C, Pasco Public Facilities District Staffing, Interim Management Services. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and just a quick update on that. The city of Pasco will be bringing on additional personnel to help with the logistics and the administration of this effort with the PFD, particularly with the numerous steps we have to take this fall in preparation for beginning the design and ultimate construction of the facility. So, quick update to the board. We'll be introducing some additional help to the board in the coming weeks, and certainly by the next meeting, if not relatively soon. So,
Very good. We look forward to that.
thank you.
Any more questions, comments for item, old business item C for Zach? If not, we're going to move to new business. Is there any new business to come before the board? Hearing none. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I guess I could do other.
You
Mine
can
would
do
be
what?
Other. Wouldn't be new business. It'd be other business.
Okay. Then, under other business, Mr. Ferguson is poised, so if you would please go ahead.
Great. Yeah, no, I just wanted to share with the board that we did receive confirmation from Department of Revenue that they have received all of our paperwork, our certifications, our ordinances, or our resolutions, as well as the certified election results, and that the tax administration manager with DR has confirmed that they have all the necessary documents, and they will be implementing the rate change effective January 1, 2023. So with that, we have final confirmation that we're good to go moving forward. So I just thought that might be something I wanted to bring to your attention. And yeah, it's a pretty big milestone.
Yes, thank you.
Right, exactly. Where's the confetti?
Well, somebody'd have to clean up, wouldn't
Right, exactly.
When are we going to meet in September?
The next meeting that's scheduled is for September 20th.
September 20th?
Yeah.
And is that going to be at 4 PM again?
Yes, that'll be at 4 PM.
Okay, if there is no other business, then we can go ahead and adjourn the meeting, and we'll meet again September the 20th at 4 PM right here in the council chambers. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you then.